Can you still hear? Can you still see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just wanted to make sure because I minimized the controls at the top. Um, so I guess I already asked you this, but I'll ask again. How are you doing today?
I'm I'm doing fine.
Okay, great, great. So there's two approaches that I like to take when I'm walking someone through the application. We can take a show and tell type approach, or we can take a let's get down to the things that you need, or we can do a little bit of both. I try to squeeze everything within an hour. Most of the time it goes over, but that's just a target and not a boundary.
All
Um,
right.
so so which would you prefer?
A little bit of both works for me.
Okay, okay. All right, let's start off with the you know, show and tell, and then we'll, after you've seen some things, then we can talk a little bit about what you would like to do with Ion Desk, and then I will try to target, 15 minutes at most on the show and tell, and we'll spend the other 45 on your needs. And feel free to interrupt and ask questions at any point.
All
So,
right.
uh, you know, of course, when you come in, you see the welcome screen. Depending on who your broker is, which I believe is Trade King, you'll see various information about them specifically. So if you click Start here, you'll see different things about, okay, this is what you need to do, generically, and here's some Trade King specific things that you may need to do if you don't see, the quotes or anything else coming through. Okay? And also, there's always the make a suggestion box here on the front. When you first come in, you'll be greeted with a toolbar, and this toolbar is collapsible. Um, I normally run mine collapsed. Some people run theirs expanded. And there's two buttons here, basically the log off and the preferences. The preferences box has many different settings that you would want to maybe review to control and set up your system. One of the main ones, if you plan to use any type of notification, you definitely need to make sure that you set up your email properly. And of course, you need to set up your order area as well. And there's some other ones like the toolbar. We can display, the Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P accordingly here. And then there's some things per the practice account, like how much money you want to have in there, and the cost per trade. Just some things that are common there. And so when you first come into Ion Desk, it won't quite look like this, but you'll be presented with the Workspace tab. That's where you do trading and practice trading at. Across the top, you're able to create a new layout, save your current one, or open an existing layout. You can expand existing layouts, or you can click Open to actually open up the dialog box, very much like the way most applications work. Next, you'll see your Tools button, which also has an expandable tab, which you click here, and once you expand, you get different options for different tools that will be a part of your layout. Starting with the basic orders, if we were to click that, then we get a basic order form here. You're able to enter a symbol, enter in something that everybody knows, put in Facebook there, and then place your buy, how many shares you want, 1,000, the term, good for the day. Depending on who your broker is, you may see more like fill or kill, good for the day, good until cancel, might be some other options. Then, of course, your price type, market limit, stop limit, market on close, or your different types there. And as well down at the bottom, I'm sorry, I'm skipping some things. Here, you're able to place a strategy per your basic order form, and you would just click that and then begin to add strategies, like something simple like, okay, I want the time of the day to be greater than Let's change this to AM. Okay. We can change this to 10, something like that. So 10:09 a.m. and this order would fire. And so that's just a simple strategy. If you notice, there's like a little icon there that represents that there's a strategy associated with the order. And then, of course, you can get alert by email or no alert at all. And then you can also preview the order. We won't bother with that. And then also you can place a trade. You'll see, depending on the account type that you have, which I believe that you have the robot account type, then you'll see your practice account at the top, always at the top, and then you'll see your other brokerage accounts accordingly.
Okay.
And then if I was to place this order right now, it would show here. And then, of course, because the market is not live, it's going to sit there until it would take there until like there's some quote action. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, something.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's your basic order form. Very simple, straightforward, and that's why we named it basic. You can do basic orders. All right. And so from the top, I will clear this practice order.
All right.
Okay. You can clear practice orders anytime. So if you go negative and you don't like the way negative looks on your screen, you can always just imagine as if it didn't happen and just clear all practice orders.
Yeah, I don't like negative.
Don't you wish we could do that with live orders, huh?
I really wish we could.
I don't like that one. Okay, so let's look at some of the other tools that are here. Of course, when you're doing, one of the reasons that most customers come to Ion Desk is for the bracketed orders. That is our claim to fame because you're able to do very advanced orders with the bracketed order form. And of course, as you can see in the back, this is the robot, which also utilizes the bracketed order form. I'm going to hide that for right now just so that we can focus on this particular form. And basically, again, starting from the top, you would enter a symbol. Let's start with Facebook there. And then we would enter in a entry order, and then a target order, and then a stop order. Okay? Once you have your order legs in place, we can set our entry order type, put how many shares that we want. And we can also set this up for options as well, but we're just going to focus on the equity for right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to apply a strategy to our order legs, we're going to double-click here on the order leg and then just add a strategy. Let's add a little bit more complex one, like a signal that maybe we want to look at moving average pair crosses. This is a lagging signal. I don't advise people use lagging signals. I prefer signals that are on time, like momentum-based signals. But moving average pair crosses work fine for if you're trading large time scales like dailies or over a week, like basically for swing traders, to where a little fluctuation in price you're fine with. And most of the time, because of the periods that you're looking at or the intervals, it's usually a pretty safe bet. But when you start day trading with moving average pair crosses, you can end up getting false signals, and so you want to be aware of that. So the tighter your time, the more volatility you're going to get, and you could get some things that you don't want there. Okay, and so once we have that strategy in place, and we'll get more into the details of the exact how to set up a strategy exactly. We'll close that, and now you see a little purple indicator there that says, okay, we have a strategy associated with this leg. And we can do the same thing with a target. We can add another strategy here that, if we see, I don't know, like a pattern. If we see a certain pattern, like two crows, like two red bars back to back, then we want to sell. Okay? And I'll make this a little bit more exact here, because I normally trade 3-minute intervals. And so basically what I'm saying is, Ion Desk, when you see two crows for Facebook, okay, and of course all of these terms are sanctioned pattern terms, so you can easily look them up. Two crows, two soldiers, black, three black crows, three inside, and so on and so on. You can look these up and find out exactly what they mean, because it's not as if we made these up. These are just normal stick patterns. And so once we observe two crows within Facebook over a 3-minute interval with a intraday time span, we want the pattern lifespan to be in minutes, to be less than 3 minutes. Okay. Now, what that means is, or what that is allowing you to do, is actually pretty powerful. Basically, what we're saying is we're giving our signal a lifespan. Okay? Why is that important? Because maybe you have other things that you want it to coincide with. And if you set a very small lifespan, guess what? They're not going to coincide, and your signal and your order is not going to fire. You can open it up, just as we're doing here.
Okay.
And and that's going to give us a lot of flexibility. There. Can you hold 1 second, please?
Not a problem.
Okay. So this, and so you understand what this is saying here.
Yeah, you got the 3-minute lifespan for if you have two reds.
Yes, sir.
At the same time.
Okay. Now, and that's after we see the two reds. Okay. And so we can do all sorts of things with that. We can say, well, what if you wanted it to wait until the third candle? Well, the way that would work is we would want it to be between 3 and maybe 4 minutes, right?
Okay.
Okay. And so there's a lot of flexibility. You just have to think it out a little bit as to how you want it to happen. All right, and we'll leave that there. And as you can see, it actually is reading to us in English more or less what it's going to do. Valid if two crows, lifespan in minutes between 3 and 4. Maybe not that good of English, but good enough. All right, so yeah, and so now we have a strategy here on our target. We have a strategy on our stop. Well, I'm sorry, we don't have one on our stop yet. And so there are other things that we can do with this particular form, like we can change the increment in which you begin to, this affects the accuracy at which we can place our legs. I would still place it like this for a bullish bet. Sometimes a 2-to-1 ratio. When you grab the yellow bar, it moves them all. When you grab each leg, they move individually. And off to the left here, you'll notice that we're doing a few calculations for you, like one that's maybe important to some would be, well, how much would this trade actually cost me? And, of course, if you're buying 1,000 shares at $76.75, it's going to cost you about $75,000. And, of course, if you were doing options, then we would calculate that accordingly. Now, what this means below is if this particular setup were to hit 75% of the time, then this is the amount you would make. If it hit 25% of the time, this is what you would earn. So it kind of gives you an idea of your trade profitability. It's not guaranteeing anything. It's just giving you over 10 trades. If you make 50%, then this is what's going to happen because of how how it's set up. And that's excluding any special things that you have going on. And I just want to show you one since we're here. You can set triggers for each one of these legs and we have a special one that I personally had my hands on that I thought it was brilliant. It's called Profit Wrench, and I think the best way to show you is to go over to the help. Basically, I just click the little icon here, and so I'm going to view what this is all about. The Profit Wrench is all about trapping profit, of course, and just in a simple form. Most of the time, most applications, and I really don't want to get into what other applications can do and what they can't do, but most trading mechanisms, like when you're talking about trapping profit around trailing stops, either stops or it's like a one-dimensional type mechanism. Well, what we've done is we've put together something that allows you to set up phases. And so you can say from negative 10 cents to positive 10 cents, I want this order to behave a certain way, or I want this leg to behave a certain way. If the price gets above my next phase, which may start at positive 10 cents up to positive 30 cents, I want you to behave a different way. I may want you to snap, or I may want you to trail, or I may want you to scale. If you get higher, you know what? We're in a place where I really want to take that money. So I still want to trail, but I want you to move up and trail tighter. So it gives you a lot of flexibility when it comes to trap and profit, and it's much better than just having there's a trade-off. There is some complexity to it, and so you'll need to understand it. But the trade-off is that you get a very unique and powerful tool to help you trap profit, because everybody's done this where you traded and you made 50 cents or whatever, and you're like, yes, I made X dollars, and that thing goes on to get $3. You're like, dang, I could have made.
Yeah,
so,
you made more money.
This mechanism is designed to help you, minimize the loss or capture a small gain at the least, and even open up depending on how you set up your phases. So like and I'm not going to harp on it, but this will give you an idea. So like first phase, this particular setup is just saying, well, when you get to positive 10 cents, I want the stop. This thing it has a virtual stop, and I want you to snap to zero. And so that's what this is saying. From negative, even though the later interface is a little bit better than this one, it's still saying the same thing. I want you to snap to zero, meaning like an offset from where I actually bought the stock. And then phase two, I want you to begin to trail by scaling. There's even trailing by easing, which is a more advanced thing, but you can do those things too. Like if the stock starts to get extremely high, you want your stop to run up to it, but not get really close to it. And so a lot of different ways to trap profit here through stages. It's a very powerful concept that currently right now only we have, but that's something you can use to trap profit. And then there's all sorts of things you can do with your stop to protect yourself. As we spoke earlier about using, trailing bids or trailing ask, or, like I was telling you before, we've got some new things in here like our limit at bid or limit at last. This is pretty powerful. I'm going to show you how this works. So I can say that I want to be Facebook's bid minus 25 cents, because I think that that's a place that I want to pick up. As a matter of fact, let's be more exact. So Facebook ended right here for the end of the day. Now, if this was in the mid part of the day and this thing was pulling back, I would want to maybe take a chance here. So we'll say if Facebook pulls back 10 more cents, I want to limit order right in here. That doesn't mean it's going to hit there exactly. It doesn't even mean it's going to go there. But those are my lines. So I'm going to set that there. And what I'm going to do so that we can see this immediately, I'm going to just disable that strategy for right now, and I'm going to place the order so we can see what would happen in real life here. Let's see. Okay, so we've got some. Let's see, what do we do? I'm trying to see here. What do we have here? Does Facebook even have a bid? It has a bidding price. Let's see. Yeah, it's because it's not market hours. This isn't going to trade. It's not moving accordingly. Let's see. Let's clear that order. Let's try to place it deeper. Let's try to place it at 60 cents here. Matter of fact, I'm going to remove these guys to make it place. Okay, and so now you'll see a limit. This guy will be a limit order. Did I do that right? I'm sorry. I'm getting a little. I'm getting a little frizzle frazzled. This order will actually fill at 73. It's showing 77, but that's because it's like there are no quotes coming through. Okay.
Yeah.
But when this guy places, it's definitely going to be at 73.5 minus 60, and so that's the way that works. There. Put that back into place. You have any questions at this point?
So that's why. Okay. So because I was wondering why the prices would seem to be kind of funny, like over the weekend when I was kind of messing with it. It's because the market wasn't open.
Yeah. And like if we placed a market order right here, see, it's not going to place simply because of the fact. Oh, I see now. You see that right there? There's no asking price.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so if we find a stock with the asking price, maybe let me try UNG. I was wondering what's going on with this thing. I'm like, this is embarrassing. Okay, UNG, nothing there. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now we're going to get the behavior that I'm expecting. And so if we place a market order, it's going to be at the ask price. And so there we go. Now, good enough. And, of course, it's going to be negative because just like what we were talking about today, we get it at the ask, and now we're already, in the hole because the price is actually below the ask, of course. Okay, let's clear this and let's look at the limit at bid again to see it really in action. So we placed that guy, and now we're going to get a feel of this. And I wish I should have done it as 10 cents so we can calculate it a little easier. Let's do it at 10 cents. And so, as you can see, our count view doesn't pop, but we're still waiting here, I guess, for this to be true. And so, but that order will get attempted to get filled because it's like it has the rule that's embedded in here, and that order will get filled at 2070 there. So that's the way that works. All right, clear these guys out. So we've looked at some tools here. I'm gonna keep an eye on this clock. Okay, we're already over our time. Let's go take a quick look at the back test. As a matter of fact, while we're here, we can look at some of the other features here. Like for instance, like you may be familiar with some of the way other tools work. I'm gonna collapse this a little bit, and like for instance, you have our watch list here, and of course, if you click on one of these, particular elements, you'll have your chart change, and sometimes depending on what type of form or whatever you have going on here. So like if I was to change this, you'll notice that all of these change because I've got them all linked together. Okay? I can unlink them, and you'll see that if I drop down this Trade King account, this one doesn't link anymore. It's only going to be the ones that link to one because I'm affecting one. One is going to change. And so anything that's affecting with one, that's what's going to happen. As well as when I change that, nothing's affected because no one else is linked to two. And so that's the way you use links in more advanced trading platforms, they all basically work the same. You know, you use the link in order to manipulate another or all windows from one window. So like if you click on Microsoft, and it'll set up Microsoft everywhere, you know. So you can kind of set that up how you want. Now, as for the robot, okay, this is the robotic area, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in here and I guess let's see, where are we at here? Take this guy off the line here, reset him. Okay, we're going to. The robot has the ability to dock. All robots, it has the ability to do a lot of different things. The whole concept is that you're able to run a strategy repeatedly. So if you have something running that you want to, to basically look for opportunities throughout the stock market, your robot will continually cycle, okay? And so after it places a trade, it'll manage that trade. And when I say manage, I mean manage it at a high level. It does not contain any logic. It does not contain any brains. All the brains is inside of your order legs. Just like when we go here and, like, as you can see, this particular order has a lot more brain than what I've been showing you. This is interesting here. I didn't know I had that set like that. And then you have, you can change the settings for the robot. Here you have plenty of settings, like what to do with successful trades if you want to place it back online or take it offline. The priority of the robot, the maximum number of trades, avoiding the same intervals. So like say like if a trade just went off and then you had it set up so tight or something to where it sold, it will actually avoid that same interval. It'll skip, however many intervals you want, and it won't trade anymore until, that. You can set things like, time between trades, the max pending time. So like say like if you had a strategy that was just sitting there, and like if you had, more than one robot here, okay, and you had a strategy that was running that was making these other 5 pending, this setting right here could kick that problematic robot back offline so that the other robots can have an opportunity to look for an opportunity. So there's just a lot of different ways you can set it up. I mean, what I always tend to do is just kind of show people at a high level what it can do, and then we look at specifically what you need it to do. Like, for instance, certain people have a certain amount of money, and so you could come here and you can say, well, I only want one of these robots to be placed at a time. And so you can override all of the robots below this group, and then come in here and say, take other robots offline, and then bring other robots back online when that robot is done. So that will allow you to you can be looking for strategies for all the robots, but once one is found, the other ones go offline, and when that one's done, the other ones come back online. So, there's a lot of things you can do with that in terms of money management and things like that. But again, do not be intimidated by the amount of settings. It's just, if you notice, everything is pretty much default. It's like, maximum failed trades. Well, I don't want one, so leave it at 0. But if you want the maximum amount of failed trades to be, say, 3, because that strategy is not working, it'll stop after 3 trades. It won't trade anymore. So you can do things like that. You still there?
Yeah, I'm there. I don't know what happened. It just paused, and you were talking about the robots, and it just stopped.
Okay. Sorry. And so, let's see. And so you can also place robotic trades manually. So, just like these robots are currently, Is that you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Me.
It's fine. Let's see. So let's undock this robot, and then we'll place it online. Now, as soon as we place a robot online, that means it's placed online, and it's waiting for whatever conditions that I have set here to place the trade. And so this is the very same way that it would be in a live scenario. This guy would sit here, and it would wait until it finds that particular trading opportunity. Now, so the queue is where it goes first. Then once one of the if your entry leg is true, then it'll come out to the orders. And then if that order is ready to be placed, meaning like it could have been a trailing order that was waiting to be true, and then once everything's true, it'll go into the account view and actually be a position. All right, and then you'll have your other two legs waiting to be, to find a stop loss or a target. I got these guys upside down. No, this is for short. This is for selling short, so it would be upside down.
Yeah.
All right, so and so that is how that works. And so let's create a robot from scratch, and then we'll go over and take a look at the back testing. All right, so I'm going to add a new robot, and I'm going to make it go berserk here. And I'm going to use UNG because I know UNG has a bid and an ask. After hours, some of these stocks don't have bid and ask price. So I'm going to do something to make it, to kind of show you the behavior, how you can control the behavior. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross these guys and make it so that as soon as it places the order, it's actually going to sell it. All right, and then we're going to look. I'm just going to buy one share because that's not important right now as to the number of shares. All right, so we're going to place this guy online. Buy, sell, buy, sell. All right, great. Okay, so we're going to go up here to the top here, and I'm going to do something here, and I want to go to the group level, and I'm just letting this thing rip just for the heck of it. I'm going to uncheck that, and I'm actually going to, what I want to do here, I want to dock this guy. I want this guy to run by itself. I'm actually going to clear all the practice orders and start all over, okay, because I wanted to show you how we can control this thing. All right, so we have our order here. We're going to place it back online. We're going to reset it, actually. Okay, so resetting it takes it offline and brings it back online. All right. Okay, now this is not what you want in a live scenario, and of course I forced this because I flipped them upside down. Now, if I flip it like this, it'll stop because every time it completes an order, it comes back to get the latest setting that you have, right?
Okay.
All right. So if I place this guy back upside down, and now it's not going to do anything right now, but if I reset this guy, it's going to start back, triggering the order because it is true. Because what it's saying is place it at market, and then if the stop loss is above here, then stop me out. Okay. Now let's add something to the amount of time between trades. Let's make it 15 seconds. No, that's not right. 15 seconds would be 0.25. Okay, and so we're going to see this thing slow down here. Now you see this little yellow pending? That means that it's waiting for 0.25 seconds. And so in another 12 seconds or so, this thing it's going to turn back green and then place another order. There it goes. You saw that?
Yep, I saw it.
All right. So that kind of gives you a feeling of how the robot works. It's up to you to apply the brains. The robot is just a manager. It's just like a mail carrier, and it does what you want it to do. It does what you tell it to do. Okay?
All right.
All right, so we'll clear that out. All right, and we also have permissions here. Okay, we've got the permissions that will allow us. Like let's set this by message box. Now, of course, we can get one by email, but I'm just going to set it by alert box so that now there's a permission. It's asking us, hey, do you want to place this trade? I'm going to say I'm going to say go ahead and place it. And so now it places it. Now we're waiting our 0.25 seconds. Now, if I deny this, I'm going to tell it to dock. Okay? So that means that when it asks us for permission, it's going to obey these rules. So if I hit cancel, this thing better dock. And this is the same behavior that you'll get. And as you see it docked, this is the same behavior that you would get if you placed that trade by your email. Okay? And that is the permissions part. And basically, what you're able to do is you're able to come in here and say, okay, I want it by email or I want it by alert box and email, just in case you decide to step out. And if you do place it by email, it will manage that alert box as well. And then you also have a timeout. So, like, let's say you got your email and you didn't get around to pressing it. Well, it'll time out after X amount of minutes. Okay? So that's a pretty decent overview of the robot. There's not really a lot here. Like we always try to make everything pretty clear. Docking means put it in the concrete. There's no automatic thing that can accidentally make these go off. Docking must be undocked manually. Okay.
Okay.
If you if I try to place this trade online, you see I can't do it.
Yeah,
I cannot do it. I can't, because it's docked. Now, if I undock it, and then I can place it online. The red means that it's offline, ready to be placed online. Reset takes it offline, puts it back online. Trade now means I just saw an opportunity and the robot didn't see it. And so what it's going to say is, hey, this action will execute the trade and drop all conditions for the order entry leg only. Continue, and you hit OK, and it's going to place this trade and of course we have permission associated with it, so we say place a trade. So it places the trade, and then we immediately sell. There, okay. So let's see. Let's go into the back testing. Do you have any questions about what you see here?
Okay, with the actual robot, you can make as many of those as you want. As
many as that your system can handle, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No limits. No limits today.
Okay.
Yeah. You can place as many strategies or groups. Like this is the root. This is what we call the root, and from the root you can add new groups. Okay. And then from each group you can add a new robot. And a robot is just a manager of your order legs. That's all it is. Just think of it like that. Don't tell your friends that you've got a magical thing that's going to make you infinite money, because the brains is your strategy that you place into the order legs. Okay. Now we do have some nifty things coming down the pipe. We do have AI, and we've got forward. It's called forward feed AI, and we also have genetic AI. Genetic AI does exactly what the term says. It takes the best behavior of the current and the past, and then it says, okay, I'm going to merge you to make a new child. Okay, and then that new child will work with the next set of parameters that seem to work best. And so it's almost like an annealing process, like when someone's making steel. It keeps hardening it until it finds the best set of parameters. So that's something that we're looking at, in the near future. It's actually already in there. Nobody knows about it yet. I just didn't want to get too much into exposing things like that, because with exposing things like that, people have high expectations when really it's just another set of math.
Yep.
So I didn't want to really get into too much detail as to, well, why isn't it doing what so not yet. All right, so you don't have any questions about the interface or anything? Oh, let's look at the charts for a minute.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you too with the charts.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get mine.
Okay, so right now, as I was telling you earlier, if I were to rate IonDesk charts, our charts are not to be rated with anyone else's, simply because they're not targeted in terms of their task. They were meant to allow you to see the behavior of signals, Okay, basically the technical analysis or the visual analysis of what would happen in your order. So, like for instance, right now we're looking at a Renko line. What I'm going to go do is get the Renko signal, and you're going to love this because Renko, and you need to probably look up the term, but Renko is a Japanese signal that I'm going to go to the help so you can kind of see early what it's going to do. It's a Japanese signal that's based on the idea of bricks. Bricks meaning certain sizes of price action. All right? And as you can see, the absolute brick size here is 20 cents. So that means that every 20 cents, it generates, every upward 20 cents move, it generates a buy signal. Now, of course, we only see one buy signal and then one sell signal because we've got our normalization on. If our normalization wasn't on, then we would see a buy, a buy, a buy, and a buy. Just as well, we would see a sell, and then a buy, and then another sell, and then another sell, and then another buy right there. So the Renko is a very interesting signal. I kind of fell in love with it, and I'm not sure if I'm still in love with it or out of love with it because it hasn't done anything but generate money, and I can show you actually. Let me show you really quickly some real trading going on. Let me go to the Facebook page and just point out some things. Okay. And so here's is this using Renko? No, this is using a different strategy. Okay, that's not using Renko. That is using I forget the name of that strategy. What is that using? That is using I think that is using momentum ratio. It's using Renko and momentum ratio. We'll talk about that later. But in the background, it's showing you all of the buy signals that it's generate. Buy. And if you notice, right, basically the way momentum ratio works is it looks backwards to see the momentum ratio or the ratio of momentum. I guess I should say. And so if you said, well, I want the momentum ratio to look back 10 candles, and I want the bullishness to be of 70%. So that means 77 of those 10 candles better be green, or it's going to be red. Okay? And so it's a very simple mathematic thing, but as you can see how well it works when you mix it with something else. I mean that's almost like perfect trading right there. And if you notice, if you look at the trades that it generated a very low amount of trades, but they were all profitable. We bought it 70.84, sold it 72.11. We bought it well, that wasn't profitable. Oh, no, we sold short. So we sold short at 71.68 and then covered at $70.74. So we sold short again, and then that was a loss, and then we had a really good sell short right there, almost $1. So those were good trades. But I was wanting to show you Renko. There's another one. Yeah, here's a good Renko. Okay. And again, the chart looks a little messy, but what Renko does for you, you see all of this whipsaw stuff that would definitely get a lot of people into trouble. You see how Renko draws a nice straight line? During that nice straight line time, guess what it does? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you want. You don't want to be a part of the nothingness. You want to be a part of the move. This thing's moving up. I want to be a part of that. This thing's not doing anything. Don't do anything. And so that's why a lot of people like the Renko signal. It can, just like other signals that have lagging and Renko is not a lagging indicator. That's the good thing about it. It's not lagging the way most indicators are. It's exact. When the price moves up and it reaches a certain level, it generates a buy signal. Okay, and so here are the Renko buy sell signals plotted onto the chart. Let's see here. And so as you can see, there's a lot of whipsaw going on early. Okay. There's a lot of whipsaw going on early. Let's normalize this so we can quiet down some of the duplicate or the consecutive buys and sells. And that's all this does. And this does this in your order as well. If you click this, it'll only generate one buy signal or one sell signal when it sees it. And so this is the way that if you normalized it in your order, it would have bought you right there, and you would have had maybe about, let's see, how much is that? That's about 20 cents to get. It would have sold you right here, okay? And then you would have made money until this down into this area, and then it would have came back up and bought, and then you would have made money until we reached. If you use what we say Renko in, Renko out. Now, of course, if you use a different sell, then you would have been out at a different place. But if you're comfortable with Renko in, Renko out, meaning like you use Renko to buy and you use it on your target, then you'll get this kind of behavior. So again, it just depends on your tolerance and how you feel about trading and things like that. So, any more questions here?
No, I think I got that. That's pretty cool.
Okay, I want to show you one more thing. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Let me clear some of the stuff off of the chart, and hopefully soon I hope to give you the ability to click here and just disable, so you won't have to change your setting. You can just disable some things temporarily and then come back to them if you want. Let's look at some of these patterns real quick. Anything that has an I, an I in the brackets, that means that it's an Ion Desk tested, tried and tested add-in, and so you know that it has a little bit more behind it than some of these other ones, because basically, and I'll be truthful, is that we had a third-party software calculating all of these things, and we found that they weren't working, and so we went in and just created our own based on how they should act. And so let's look at the two soldiers here. Okay. Did I click it? Oh, I didn't move it over. And of course, you can change the indicator color, to whatever you like. And so wherever there are two soldiers side by side, then it's going to plot a pattern. So there's one. And now keep in mind, I want you to think about this in very detail, like when you use these things. Okay? Imagine, just like I was telling you earlier today, you have one candle that says, one candle's green. Okay, now a two-soldier pattern has to have one candle and then another candle to the right of it. Now, you can temporarily have a candle that is green, meaning like now we have two soldiers, and then it goes away. So now it's not two soldiers anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you use that in your order, you want to be aware of that. Now, what can we do to mitigate that? We can come in here and say, okay, I need a little bit more confirmation. We have something here called Candlestick Selector, which will allow us to say, I want the minimum size of that candle to be 5 cents. Okay? Now, what this is going to do is, it's showing you all of. I just want to plot the ones that are 5 cents or greater. Okay. So now it looks a little messy, but let me see here. What would happen in the background is wherever there's one of these that are greater than, and like we can make this a little bit more specific here. Let's say the body size. Let's say we want the body size to be the minimum body size to be 5 cents. Or let's make it 6 cents. It got a little bit more quiet. And so wherever there's two soldiers and the body sizes, and so now you see how we can combine things to make our signals what we want them to be. So if we put these two strategies in our order, now we're saying I want to see two soldiers, okay? But guess what? Their body size must be of a certain size before I'll even accept it. Okay? Okay, so yeah, that'll get you breaking out the old paper and pen to scratch up like I want it to look like this, and then you have to figure out, oh yeah, I can use this to force that to be the way that I want it. So now we're confirming that not only do we have our soldiers, but that last candle has to be of a certain size. We can't just have like a little fake out where it moves up a penny then moves down 4.
Yeah.
You know. Okay. So, all right, let's move on to the back test. Any questions here?
Nope.
All right. Okay, so I don't have any drum roll effects or anything, so I'm just going to roll right into it. As I was telling you earlier today, you know, when you come into the back test, I'm not too proud of the interface here that we have here, but we may be moving some of these things upward and some other things. But basically, everything's going to be there. Starting a new back test, exporting, importing, loading. You basically load what's in your list.
Yep.
Right now, I'm looking at something called Contrarian Pro, and it's got some special things in it. I'm trailing the bid by 10 cents. I've got some settings here. I'm looking at the 2 soldier setup. I really don't need this because this percentage valid is a very interesting tool that you can apply. Like basically, if we have multiple strategies here, right, and we're not sure about how we feel about either one of them, but like let's say if we had 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have 4. So like let's say if we wanted 75% of these to be correct, what that means is that we need to see at least 75 or below. Am I saying that correctly? I think you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So 3 of them would make 75%. And so as long as we're greater than this 74%, we're good. So that means 3 of these have to be valid. Okay? And so that's how percentage valid works. That's an actual strategy that you would drop down and say, okay, I want a percentage valid thing, and then you would add children below it. Okay? So, just an interesting way of putting together a strategy or set of strategies without having to use or and all that. It's just like I got a group, and I want a certain amount of them to be true. All right, so there's our pattern that we can go to. We got technicals. We got script that you can get into if you want to write something advanced. We got formula. You can write formulas based on technicals. You can also have a strategy link. So if you had something like, for instance, if you had a strategy and you really had your robots all organized, and you're like, God, I do not want to place, like you can copy the robots, you can do all sorts of things from a management standpoint, but from a management standpoint of centralizing your strategy link is what you want to do. So, like, let's add one so I can show you kind of how that works, but I'm not going to save this. The way the strategy link works is it works by allowing you to link to a strategy. Okay, let me see if I can load this. And so this is a strategy that I'm linking to, right? So now, because that strategy is on my disk, that means that I can link to it from other places as well. So now I have this one single strategy that I like, or that I like to use, and if I change that strategy, if I update that strategy, it's going to update it everywhere. That's the power in that. And so it's like you're centralizing the brain that you're creating, okay? And so that becomes pretty powerful there with being able to do that. And, of course, you can do things like if you add some more stuff, you would just come in here and say publish, okay? And it's telling you you're about to update a central strategy. This action will affect other items that are using this strategy. Hit OK. Okay, it's been published, meaning like it's saved from here down back to that file that it was originally picked up from, okay? And now everywhere that's using it will also be changed as well. All right? So I'm going to leave this as is. There's not much going on here. I've got a little thing here that says if the quote is greater than 0, which means that if the change on the day is positive. All right, so we've got this, and we're also using our profit wrench, okay, actually in the back test. And so just about anything you can do in the back test, you can do live. There are some caveats, meaning like we don't support options trading in the back tester, okay? It's because we don't have options historical data. Not many people do have that, but we definitely don't. And so in the back tester, you're basically testing equities, all right? And so let's take a look at the settings that we were talking about earlier. The name of my strategy, how long I want to run it. I just got 2 days running. Optimizations enabled. I was telling you earlier about how we also have the ability to, we have what would be called design of experiments. Remember I was telling you about that?
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with that term?
Not quite. I remember what
okay, well, let me just give you, I'll just give you a little quick, run through. It's no problem. Imagine the process that a car maker would go through to determine the best temperature to paint their cars. Okay, They would have to look at the adhesive of the paint that's associated with the paint. They would look at other properties of the paint, the temperature of the bake-in area. They would probably look at some other properties like do they prime it or not. And so all of those factors they would be adjusting, like, okay, let's try it at 450, let's try it at this, let's try it at that. Those are the things that you can do right here. And so when you're back testing, you click here, and in here we call it an optimized setting, but really it's a design of experiment. And so with this particular setting, we could try it at 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. So now we just turned our 1 back test into 3 back tests, right?
Okay.
Okay, I want to show you something here. I want to show you something that's got a few more. Okay, here's something that's got a few more settings. Did I change that? No, I good. Okay, so this has a few more settings. So if we wanted to see, well, what would this look like with 5, looking back 5, and let's look back 10, and let's try 15. Okay, now we're going to run 3 back tests within 1, right? Okay, and if we did another one, we just changed our back test exponentially. Now it's going to be, let me think, how many is that going to be? It was 3, now we're doing 3 times 2, I think. That's 6. Yeah. I mean, like, the reason I'm hesitant on saying just 3 times 2 is because I think that it may be something a little bit more exponential, but anyway, you get the idea. Yep. All right. So I'm going to uncheck those because we don't need to do that right now. We're going to say disable here. All right. So actually, I'm going to uncheck that. Since we're here, matter of fact, let me go here. I just want to show you something. If I were training you and not just, showing you, I would always tell people that when you're using strategies, you want to kind of organize them. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this. And what we want to do is add 2 folders, all right? So we've got 2 folders. I'm going to call one trigger, and the other one will be called condition. All right, or conditions. All right. Now, the whole idea behind automated trading, algorithmic trading, is you want to have a set of conditions that you're working in, strategies basically, right?
Yep.
And so we want things like, okay, is my stock green for the day if I'm bullish, or or I want the Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq to all be green. I want you know a certain amount of stocks within my sector to be trading a certain way. Above the above their normal beta or something, whatever. Okay, so those would be your conditions. Like all of the strategies, whatever, and then you would have one trigger. Okay, to actually trigger this, and so the intersection of your conditions and your trigger would be your strategy, your total strategy. Now, I'm not a brainiac. This is just things that I've learned over time and things that I've read. Just like yourself, I hit the bookstore extensively. Just because I built this thing doesn't make me a better or lesser trader than anyone else, right?
Yep.
So, but in my reading, this seems to be a standard way of thinking about algorithmic trading, kind of organizing your thoughts. These folders pass through down to the strategy, and if the strategy is valid, and then if all of them are valid, then your order will be placed or your leg will be placed. All right? Okay. All right, so we're ready to take a look at this back test. All right? So we're going to run it, and we're going to see how it's going to perform. Okay, so it's running. Then we're going to take a look at where it bought, where it sold, and everything it did in between. Okay. Okay. Looks like our profit wrench is doing some work. All right, so we've got 2 days, and these are the buys and sells per those days. All right? So on day one, as you can see, that both of these days were down days. Hence the little icon there. That's what that means. And so if we were to zoom in a little bit, we'll see exactly where our orders bought and sold. So we bought here, and so those were those early losses. Remember? Okay, so in our strategy, remember how we had just buy every time we see two soldiers. Okay, bam, it bought, lost. It bought. Should have bought somewhere in there, but maybe based on the bid and ask, then it sold. It bought and it sold. It bought here, sold there. That was a buy. That was a positive. We bought and we sold. We bought and we sold. We bought and we sold. Same thing. All right? And we did that 25 times that day. But because we kept our losses tight and we ran our gains, we did pretty good. We made $1,000. Let's see, what were our fees for that day? So our fees were $100. I'm not calculating. This is not right. Our fees were $59 for that day, and so we netted $11.86. Okay, so let's look at this particular. Again, another down day, and some very tight buys and sells. And, you can set up your strategy to maybe do better. You can probably set up your strategy to avoid this area, and I can show you how we would do that. Like, let's say that you wanted to avoid downward trends, okay? We could use something like the Trend Finder, okay? All right, and so we can say, I want to look back 30 candles, okay? Let's see. We want to look at current to candles back. That's what that means. Current candle to candles back. And we want to observe let's just say the closes of the candle. We want to look at 3-minute intervals, and we want the buy signal to be less than or equal to 3 minutes. Okay, we're going to turn that on. Now watch how the back test changes, because now we've got that Trend Finder, and it's like it wants to see an upward trend only. Now, whenever you're using trend or anything to keep you out of trades, there's a pro and con to that. It's like it's going to keep you out of trades, which is going to keep you out of opportunity, and sometimes it may even make you late. just like it did right there. You see how
Mm-hmm.
you see how we made money right at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see how this thing's trending down. It's trending down. It didn't like it, and it began to trend up a little bit here, and it bought, and we made money, and then it sold, and it didn't buy anymore because of the trend was like, nope, 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 nope. Okay? And then here, we didn't get any of this because it was mostly trending down for the most part for 30 candles. So 30, that's a bit much. We said 30 back over 3 minutes. That's actually 90 minutes. That's a lot. So actually, this is an hour, so we're talking about right in here. Yeah. So we're talking about in terms of distance from the open to right here. That's about how much it looked at to make sure the trend was correct. And so it started to buy right here because it said, yeah, we're starting to trend back up.
Mm-hmm.
Got in and so those are the things that you can do with IonDesk, and so you can kind of like keep yourself out of trouble, but it also can keep you out of opportunity, So it just depends on what you're looking for. But that's a powerful thing, and I could have used momentum ratio as well to do a very similar job. I'm looking back 30, the bullish to bearish ratio. I got 0.35, and let's run it and see how that behaves. We're going to get a totally different behavior because momentum ratio is different than the trend finder, different from the trend spider. And you'll see all three of those in there, So
Okay.
let's see how this is going to perform. It shouldn't take long. It's a little bit longer because there's a little bit more calculation going on there. It looks like the trend, the momentum is really cooking good. We got a nice ratio of wins to losses, which I don't really look at win to loss ratio too much because, here's the thing, is that I always tell people that does it matter if you lost 99 trades, but the 100th one made you 10 times more than all of the losses that you made?
Nope.
It doesn't matter. So ratio doesn't matter. What matters is profit trapping. That's what matters. Okay, let's see. Wow, that was a nice amount of trades. What? Where did it get all of that profit from? It just had good buys, I guess. Got a good one right there. Okay. Good. And so you get a different behavior when you put different different constraints and things associated with your order. Like I said, I had the trend finder. I always like to kind of show people, well, okay, like this is the difference. Let's see, what do I have here? Above, below, previous bar. I'm going to run this last back test so we can see the difference here. All right, let's run it really quickly. And so now, are you starting to get a feel of what IonDesk is supposed to do for you and what it doesn't do?
Yeah.
It's all about strategies. It's all about math. It's all about finding opportunities so that your trades go off when you want them to and not when your emotions tell you to. And I don't like to get too much into all of that kind of mumbo jumbo, but you understand, that the computer can find an opportunity for you a lot faster probably than a human can.
Yep.
And so that's I basically, it's like now we have the structure. So now I spend a lot of my time improving and coming up with different math concepts to put into IonDesk to make you even more powerful. I mean, like, there's some pretty powerful things in there, but there's more that we can do, in my opinion. And I'm always taking suggestions. Like, I hope to add far more reporting to your back testing. Much more reporting that will give you other insights into, what you could have done, what you might want to do, and things like that. So, but yeah, this is, and of course, all of your help and all of that support and stuff is back here in the back. You click on your help topics and you can go through. I got to be honest. Our help is a little is it could be better. We got a lot of help in the API area. The other areas are there, but they aren't in depth. And so that's why I always spend a lot of time with customers, training them and helping them get to whatever they want to get to. So, like, for instance, if you walk away tonight and you say, hey, in a couple of days, okay, this is the strategy that I want to look at or I want to do, we'll sit down again, or I'll create the strategy for you, email it to you, let you look at it, open it up, and then we can reconvene over the phone or over join me to iron it out.
All right.
So I hope I'm not concluding, but I'm hoping that you really got a good feel of what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Now I know a whole bunch more stuff than I know when I was talking to you today. Because like I said, all this looked like it was impossible to me earlier today. So.
Nah, it's actually it's actually pretty easy once you extract out what you're trying to achieve. Everything you're trying to achieve is right behind this bar. When you double click that guy, that's the brains of your order. And you can do other things like I didn't even show you, like, for instance, like at the root level for all of my robots. Let's say I didn't want any of my robots to trade any earlier, any of them to trade any earlier than 9:45. I can set that. I can say 9:45. Computers are so embarrassing sometimes. Okay, so 9:45 a.m. It must be greater than that. Okay. Now that forces all of my robots to follow that. So if I turn them all on, if I undock them all, and then I say place them all online, it's placing them all online. And let's see what's going on. Time of day is greater than. Well, I guess that's relative.
Yes, it is. I was like, it is greater than 9:45 a.m.
Yeah. Depending on, okay. But in the morning, it would say no, I'm not.
Yeah, so like if it was like 12:01, it wouldn't do anything. It would.
Right.
Well, because it is greater than 9:45 in the morning. You really can't fault it for.
Yeah. No. It's correct. It's correct in thinking that. And let's see. And I can come in here and say between here and here. It would probably totally embarrass me again. So I'm not even going to bother with it. But you get the idea about what you can do. We'll dock those guys, and I'll have a side talk with the robots after I get off the phone with you. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it, and again, just come back with your questions. I'm always going to be at arm's length to help you out any way that I can, and try to get you where you want to be. I know you talked about getting your mother, or like getting her in a position so that she can do something with it or whatever.
Yeah, for herself. That way I don't have to, get into. You know how people want to feel independent, so.
Right.
Try to make it as easy as possible to, hey, you did something, even though you may not have done anything, I don't know.
Right. I mean, man, there's actually a lot of things we can do for her. Like we can do, something like, come in here and give her a custom window. I just put that there, and we can build her something as simple as buy and a sell, big buy and sell button. And she can do whatever, I built this just to show people that they can build their own windows, but like in your case, if whether you have, if you don't have programming experience, I can build something for you, for her, and that will extract all of this complexity and just put it in a 2-button type thing, so there's a lot, it's whatever you want to do.
All right.
Really,
awesome.
Whatever you want to do. So, yeah, jump in there, and if you know anything you need, just email me, and I'll see if I can get you going.
Very awesome. I appreciate it.
Yep. No problem at all. And just let me know whenever you're ready to start.
Well, I'm going to be doing a lot of investigative research into this, messing around with some new things to see how.
Just I mean, like there's a lot of ways to skin the cat, and I always say just keep it simple at first. Come up with something that makes good sense to you. Trade things that make good sense to you, and trade practice shares just as you would with your own money. Don't buy 10,000 shares if you normally wouldn't trade 10,000, or don't buy one when you normally would trade 1,000. You want it to be realistic, so that you can get a good feel, because sometimes I tell people to start out by trading one share, because what you want to see first is, can I be green or positive versus red? And it doesn't matter about the number of shares yet. Then you move into, okay, well, how many shares would I be actually buying if I were trading myself? Okay, and then you practice with that. And so that's just a formula. It's not anything you have to do. It's just to give you a context of, because I have people that, I traded 100,000 shares. I'm like, of what? And they're like, oh yeah, I bought 100,000 shares of Twitter. I'm like, do you have that much money? And I'm like, if you did, then you probably could buy Twitter. It's like,
Almost.
just.
Let's see, $43. Let's see, what was it like $50 for Twitter?
Yeah.
$100,000. That's
that's a lot of money. But believe me, they wouldn't be dealing with Ion Desk if they had $50 million. More than likely.
That's not the way it works.
Yeah. So, but okay, Christopher, I'm not gonna hold you any longer. And I really appreciate you taking the time out to listen to my yada yada. And
no problem. I need to learn this stuff, so I'm trying to get everything figured out. Once I get everything figured out, I'm definitely going to get a response from me. Because, like I said, I just want to get everything set up and moving. Because I know that, granted, I know some of this. I'm definitely going to have to get a second helping.
Oh yeah, and that's no problem. That's the way it works, because you got to get in there and you just go in there and press buttons. You're not going to break it. You got your clear all the orders whenever you want to. When something you did something wrong or whatever, just clear it, stop it, and go back in there and place an order and see what happens. That's the great thing about the practice, is that you don't you don't have to worry about like this money is on the line. Just place the order, and then get the feeling of trading, and then once you get the feeling, then then you can start to look at, what, if I had something to keep me in line trend wise, and it'll keep me out of these negative downward moves, or whatever, and then you can really really begin to get a feel of what it's like to do by hand trading versus or by hand or discretionary trading versus automated or a logarithmic type trading.
So, I have a quick question though.
Yeah.
On my chart, I don't have the actual time and date. Is that only when the symbol comes in there, I'm guessing?
Right. I'm not sure exactly what.
Okay, yeah, that's what it is. It's the symbol.
Okay.
I don't have an actual symbol in there, so it's not an actual symbol. It goes like January 1st of like the first year or something like that.
Right. Yeah. When you place a symbol in there, and keep in mind, we do have data holes, meaning like on a Sunday, you may not get any well, of course you're not going to get intraday data. and our vendors and suppliers of data, they normally choose the weekends to do all kinds of crazy stuff. So if things act weird on the weekend, that's why. It's going to be, things act right during market hours, things act good after and before market hours, and things act a little crazy on the weekend. Is all I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's just the nature of the business. I mean, of course you're with Trade King, but yeah, E-Trade is pretty bad about that. But you're with Trade King, but see, we still get our historical data from a third party, and so it's like, I'm sorry, Ion Desk gets this data from several different vendors. We get the quote data from your broker so that it's accurate to what you would be actually ordering. We get historical data from Active Tick, and then we get other data from other vendors depending on what it is. So it's not just one data source coming in there. So.
Okay, quick question. When you had your chart that you have right now.
Yep.
Okay. When you put yours to intraday 3-minute candles, because I'm trying to put mine to intraday 3-minute candles right now as we're speaking, mine doesn't show up the same way yours does. Mine has like little tiny it's just for like the actual day. Like, and even if I zoom in, it's like. Is that just the stock itself because it doesn't trade?
No. Right click on it and say fit to screen, and that may help.
Okay, well, that definitely
or fit to view.
But I don't have a like my candles don't even look like candles. Like it just has like little like dashes.
Okay, what stock are you looking at?
This is just like one of those like little smaller stocks.
Yeah, and that could be why. Because of the price action.
Okay.
Yeah, so like if you look at, if you look at Sirius Satellite, chart different data, different price action is going to look different. See, like look at Sirius Satellite. Or if you look at Bank of America, it's going to have a much different chart than a Facebook would. Not much different, but that's just because of just like Bank of America, it trades between like you're talking about $15 and the high on it was $15.11. Some people like that. I personally don't. I like stocks that are like in the $60 range because they move further and they give me more opportunity to make money easier. Whereas like if I make a mistake on Bank of America, I may be underwater all day just to, like in other words, if I make a 4-cent error in a $60 stock, I've got a good chance of it coming back, or I got a good chance of it going against me. But at least I'm going to get some movement to know what I need to do. In a Bank of America where it doesn't have a lot of movement within the day. I mean, it has a lot of volume, but not a lot of price action in terms of its high to low. Then if I get in trouble, I could be in trouble for a long, long time. And so that's just another little trade kind of thing like you may want to look at, because a lot of people say, oh, why? Like I can't trade an expensive stock. It's like expensive. That's relative, unless you start to talk about Berkshire, where you have to pay $100,000 for one share. But
yeah.
I mean, yeah. And so anything that's below 100, it's all relative, really. I mean, it's just you just buy less of it, and you get the exact same magnitude of trade. So like for instance, if I was buying a $3 stock, I've got to buy a lot of it in order to get the same amount of value out of it as I would a $30 stock or $60 stock. So it's all relative. It really is. But I tend, again, like that's why you see, like sometimes I trade UPRO, which I don't have any robots over there for UPRO, but you're talking about a range of $108 to $111. It's pretty easy to make money there. It's pretty easy. So I know my chart looks a little crazy, but believe me, it's for me it's a lot easier. I've heard other people say that they make money easier in smaller charts. So it just depends on who you are and how you trade. But yep, that's exactly what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, like I said, I'll be back after I get this figured out.
All right. Well,
you figured out.
It's like I said, just
mind-boggling.
It's nothing more than numbers. That's all it is. Just numbers over time, and we're just using different strategies to read what's really going on with the numbers. That's the way you want to think about it. Where the strategies are nothing more than just math interpreters. That's all it is. Just reading math. And so when all of the settings are true, and I'll leave you with this: the best way to go about a logarithmic trading is to forget about the system. The system doesn't matter. Ion Desk, Trade King, all of that doesn't matter. What matters is you placing your order at the right time, okay? And so what you need to do is push the computer aside and then decide how, look at the market, look at a few charts on paper, and then think about it and then say, okay, this is the opportunity that I like. This is what I like to see. And then once you identify what you like to see, then you figure out, how do I trap that? How can I make my order come in right here versus up there? That's all that's all that you're trying to do or trying to achieve. All this other stuff, it doesn't even matter. It's all about just getting the right strategy for what you like to trade.
All right.
All this other stuff is just features and switches, and once you get in there, you'll be like, well, I want it to do this, and then you'll find a setting. Oh yeah, well, that'll allow me to do that. No big deal. It's just far more important for you to be intimate with what you're trading than it is to be concerned with learning a system. Because you may find out, hey, I don't even like Ion Desk, or I do like Ion Desk, or whatever, and you never know. So,
like I said, I got a lot of stuff I want to try out. So
okay.
Oh man,
that is